We are Rob and Kathy, and these are our adventures in our Avon Applause 500 camper van, Serenity. Welcome to day 4. We're in Berry and getting up for an early start today. We've got a big driving day to try and get to Whyalla, which is going to be 5 to 6 hours. Bit of a change of plan again. Unless we say something particularly intriguing, not going to do a huge amount of filming today. We've seen an awful lot of Australian scrub and bush, so I think we can all do with a little bit less of that for a day. So there mightn't be a huge amount on today's report. We'll see you as we go. Back on the road again. It wasn't long until we hit some roadworks. While they're a bit of a pain, they're essential, repairing damage from the heavy rain, in places the floods, and also the heavy traffic that these roads get. This is Port Germain, where we're heading for lunch, and down the end of this street you can see the ocean. It's Spencer Gulf, and we haven't seen any water except for flood water for quite some time. This is the Port Germain lighthouse, which was built in 1894.
Yeah, it used to be right down the end of the pier, but they've moved it up here and renovated it. The pier is very long.
Very long pier. It used to be a grain terminal, and then when they completed the rail link, it's fallen into disuse. This is the Port Germain jetty. It was built in 1881. And it is an amazing 1.7 kilometres long. It's a beautifully cool day, probably just in the low 20s. You can see a slightly different perspective of the wharf or the pier going out and out and out and out. And this is Spencer Gulf. Well, we arrived at Whyalla and we're parked up at the Whyalla local caravan park, and quite a nice outlook. Tide's out at Spencer Gulf, so we'll be here for the night. We're going to have a lovely outlook. Well, it's the afternoon and the weather has really turned. We've had high 30 degrees for the first 3 days, and now here at Whyalla it's low 20s, windy. We've had some rain, so it's quite refreshing really.
Back in jumpers.
Yes, we're back in jumpers, and here is the beach looking out over Spencer Gulf.
Low tide.
Very low tide.
No beach. They're all quite rough, aren't they?
They are. Kathy's looking for rocks because her hobby is rock painting, and we're just looking for the perfect
That one might be alright.
smooth rock.
The wind's going to affect that.
Easy dinner tonight after our big day on the road. Veggie burgers and chips. Thanks, cook.
You're welcome.
Hi, time for a day 4 wrap-up. We're in Whyalla. Another big driving day today, but the roads were much better, so it didn't take us much out of us, and it's a much more pleasurable experience. Had a relaxing afternoon here, had a bit of a walk on the beach, done some editing, and that will do us for today. So see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's Thursday morning and we're in Whyalla, packing up, ready to head off to Port Lincoln today. First of our major stops. We're a day ahead of schedule. Most of our planning has gone out the window due to flooding, unavailability of caravan parks and the like. So we're making our way down about 300 k's down to Port Lincoln today. So I'll let you know more about that, of course, when we get there. Here's Cook starting the day with our very healthy porridge that she makes.
Patented porridge. Turmeric, cinnamon, nutmeg, pepper, black seed, all the health. Sultanas, walnuts.
This is Whyalla Jetty, which was opened in 2020. It's a concrete structure which replaced the old cast iron jetty, which was taken apart in 2017. It's unique in that it has a circular design with a big hole in the middle. And here is the big hole. Well, we're leaving Whyalla now and we're heading our way down to Port Lincoln. We're going to do it in a few little stops and take our time. First port of call is going to be Cowell, about 100 kilometres down the road. Well, this is Cowell on the Spencer Gulf, and you can see these really nice old colonial buildings. And just across here is the ocean. Well, this is what we've come to Port Lincoln for, the white shark cage diving. If that's a bit too much for you, perhaps you could swim with the tuna. Well, we've pulled into Tumby Bay for lunch. Been here once before, a few years ago when we last came down here, and it's a lovely spot, but it's very windy, so I apologise if you're picking up a lot of wind in the microphone. Another big wharf. Well, it's lunch at Tumby Bay, and Cook has made falafel wraps with avocado, and they'll be very nice if we're quite hungry after more driving. We actually passed over 2,000 kilometres for our trip this morning. Unfortunately, the jetty here is under a bit of serious repair, and it's been completely closed off because it was a nice walk out there. Leaving Tumby Bay now, and our next stop will be Port Lincoln. Coming up on Port Lincoln, quite unbelievably, because it's been a very long trip. We're in the centre of Port Lincoln now, and Just pulling in to pick up a few supplies before we reach the caravan park.
2.4 metres. No, not happening.
No, we can't go in. That's the first time it's ever happened.
I could have gone in there.
And we are finally at our first major destination, Port Lincoln. It's taken a long time, but we are here. To check in, and we'll go and find our first site. We're a day early, so we're getting an unpowered site for tonight, and then a powered site for the next 3 days. Well, we're parked up at our unpowered site for the night. Great outlook. A little bit windy, but you get that near the coast wherever you are. Out on the jetty at the caravan park. Nice little pool area for the bit of swimming and playing in the water. And then we're back around to where we're camping for the night.
Which is up in there somewhere.
Yep, under the tree. So, Cook, what's for dinner?
Tonight we've got broccoli, we've got stew, which I had frozen, brought from home, and bread rolls. So I'm just about to dish it up.
Hi, end of day 5. And the end for a few days at least of our really long driving hauls. We're well settled in Port Lincoln. Tomorrow we move over to a powered site, but we're quite enjoying being unpowered at the moment. So a quiet evening. We've just had dinner. Very nice. Thanks, Cook, and we'll see you in the morning. Breakfast. And we're having vegan bacon sandwiches. They will be very nice with some avocado. Thanks, Cook.
You're welcome.
Okay, so it's the morning of day 6, and we've spent our first night on our own power, and that went well, didn't it?
It did.
I think we used
much.
up 4% of our electricity, so that was good. So what's on the cards today?
I think we're going to drive into town and have a look around, go to a coffee shop, try and find a shop I saw years ago, see if it's still there, and
Generally relax, I think, after all that driving.
oh yes,
And we're actually in the same place now for a few days, so we can just relax.
yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah.
The holiday starts now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll tell you all about the day as we go.
Sounds like a plan. Time for coffee.
Well, we've packed everything up and we're heading into town for a morning tea and a spot of shopping. We've just noticed, I don't think you'll be able to see it now, a cruise ship anchored out in the harbour. It's quite a big one.
Yeah, they do trips or cruises around Australia, so I suppose it's a natural port to call into.
Yeah, and it's a big enough town to entertain the people.
Could be busy in town.
Nice coffees to get us started for the rest of the morning. Here we have Cook trying to find a shop that may or may not exist.
It existed once,
It's keeping it busy.
4 years ago. You want
Well, here's Cook in a shop. It might not be the shop, but it's certainly holding her interest. And we have achieved success. Mystique on air, and it's still here. How good is that?
Headband for using his neck scarves as well.
Port Lincoln has a really nice vibe to it. Very holiday feeling. It's a lovely day. Scuba class taking place. And round we come. There's the big P&O liner again. By finishing off the day, we're just back from an excellent meal at an Italian restaurant down on the waterfront in Port Lincoln. And then it's going to be an early night, even though it's quite hot here, still around the 30-degree mark at 8 p.m, because we've got an early start tomorrow, being picked up at 6 o'clock at the front gates to go off on our shark adventure. See you then.